I'm Terry Mason. I'm the editor of Canadian Cowboy Country Magazine, and we're here at the beautiful Saw Ridge Inn in South Edmonton, and we have as our guest today, Jason Aldean. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
You're up here in Alberta to perform at the Big Valley Jamboree this weekend. Is this your first visit to Canada?
No, it's not our first visit to Canada, but it is our first time doing the Big Valley Jamboree, and first chance we've had to do this festival. And you know, we've tried to make it a point to get here to Canada, you know, every year at least, even if it's just for a couple of shows. You know, try to get up here, and we're trying to get up here a little more, you know, more and more every year. So so hopefully it won't be the last time we play.
You're traveling an interesting road right now, Jason. You came to Nashville as a songwriter and not as a singer. What was that experience like?
Well, I had a band in Georgia, and I was playing a little circuit of clubs down there, and songwriting. I got offered a songwriting deal, a publishing deal, which for me was basically a way to get my foot in the door. I mean, I always wanted to be an artist. That was the ultimate goal. You know, but I think in this business, you got to take advantage of any opportunity that comes along. And for me, that opportunity was to move to Nashville as a songwriter and kind of get my foot in the door that way, and you know, make some connections and meet people there, and ultimately that, you know, led to my record deal. It took about 6 or 7 years, but it finally happened. So, but that was always the goal, was to try to get there and be an artist and get a recording contract. And
that's something I wanted to speak about. In the beginning, you had a tough time getting heard, let alone signed. And now, what is it, like 6, 7 years later, you've got 4 albums out. 2 of them went platinum, 1 went gold. You've released 12 singles, and out of those 12, 6 were top #1 hits, and the other 6 were in the top 10. But looking back on this journey that you've been on to this point, what kept you going?
You know, I think it was the fact that, you know, excuse me, I think it was the fact that I felt like, you know, that we had something really unique to bring to the table. I didn't feel like there was anybody else out at the time that was, you know, was doing the kind of music that I was doing. And I just kind of always felt like if I had, you know, if I could just get the opportunity to, you know, to be heard, that, you know, I had as good a chance as anybody to make it happen. And that's kind of the way it went down. I mean, once I got my deal, you know, I wanted to make sure I took advantage of all the opportunities that came with that, and that if it didn't work, it wasn't for lack of effort, you know, because it was tough to get it going. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's easy to get frustrated in the music business, you know, because it's easy for people to tell you no. But at the same time, I mean, if you really feel deep down that you got something to offer and you believe in what you're trying to do, then, you know, you just got to stick, you know, hang in there, stick it out, and take advantage of your opportunity when it presents itself.
Everything I've read about you speaks about your loyalty and your stability. Like, you married your high school sweetheart. You're still with Broken Bow Records, the first company that signed you. You have a beautiful young family, and you have a farm outside of Nashville. Yet many of your songs speak of loneliness and heartache. Where does that come from?
You know, being on the road all the time, you know, you are away from your family and away from, you know, people that you love and people that you want to be with. And so maybe it comes from that a little bit. I don't know. You know, and even though, you know, I married my high school sweetheart, there were still times where, you know, you experience heartbreak along the way, and you know, no matter what that is, and you know, for us, it was a lot of breaking up and getting back together early on, like when we were kids. So, you know, so I've witnessed my fair share of that kind of stuff too, and I don't know. I think that's just country music, though. You know, I think it's just that's part of what makes country music appealing, is because everybody everybody's dealt with that, I think, at some point or another. So, I think that's what makes it appealing to people.
Okay. For some, songwriting is a solitary pursuit, and for others, it's collaborative. Which works best for you?
For me, it's kind of a collaborative thing. I like writing songs if I feel like I got something to say. You know, I'm not one to sit down and try to force out a song just to do it. But I always found that, when I'm writing, it's the old saying, I mean, two heads are better than one kind of thing. It's like you get stuck on an idea and you can't get off of it. Having somebody else in the room there to throw out ideas to get you going again, that's, to me, seems to work better for me than me sitting down trying to write something by myself.
Right. The best athletes in the world have coaches, like the Olympic athletes, for example. Do you have coaches in anything, like such as voice or guitar?
No, none of that.
What do you
None of that. You know what? I took about 3 voice lessons when I was a kid, and I didn't like the stuff that she was trying to teach me. Scales and it just wasn't what I liked about music.
Right.
I wasn't into the technical aspect of it. Guitar playing was the same way. I took about 3 guitar lessons, and again, trying to teach me scales, and I just wasn't into it. And so for me, it was, I learned to play guitar basically by ear. My dad taught me, and then everything else I learned kind of by ear. And singing, how to control my voice and what I can and can't do, I learned just playing clubs. Growing up, I started playing clubs at 14 years old, and and I think just over the years, you start to get comfortable with what you can and can't do. You start to figure it out, and versus me going in and singing some little riff that, a voice teacher was trying to teach me, I could go buy a songbook and learn how to play, a John Anderson song or an Alabama song and sing it and play it on guitar. And so that was just kind of how I learned to do all of it.
Well, and that's one of the things that I want to talk to you about. You're a distinctive guitar player, and you've got a touch of jazz undertone, and you've got blues undertone. And that was what I was wondering, if you studied that musical style.
Yeah, well, where I'm from is, was a big melting pot of music. I mean, Otis Redding was from my hometown. Little Richard is from my hometown. The Allman Brothers, it's like, so it was kind of like a melting pot of music there. So I grew up listening to country and rock and southern rock and blues and R&B and, everything. So, I think for me, my favorite singer of all time is probably Otis Redding. My favorite band of all time is Alabama. So it's like my influences couldn't be more. It's like somebody just took a deck of cards and scattered them across the table, and that's kind of my influence. It's pick up a card, and it could be anything, and so and I guess we're in the studio and recording my own music. I guess that different styles of music kind of start to shine through a little bit. I don't know, but like I said, I've just always had an appreciation for all of it.
One thing I find that's really interesting, there seems to be quite a connection between, obviously, songwriters and performing in concerts, but also songwriters and acting. A number of musicians have made that leap, like Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and Dwight Yoakam. And now there's also a number of actors that have gone from acting into performing, like Billy Bob Thornton and Kevin Costner. So I was wondering, is acting going to be a part of your future?
Maybe. It's funny because it's funny you would ask, because it just recently we got pitched a movie script. A movie that's getting ready to shoot later this year, and asked if I wanted to be a part of it. And for me, it was something that I always said, it's like with music. If I'm going to do a movie, I want it to be something that I think is cool, something that I would want to watch.
That's right. So there has to be at least one car chase.
Yeah, or just whatever it is that I think is cool, and and for me to start off, it was like, if I do it, I want to start off something kind of small to see if it's even something that I'm into.
Yeah.
I mean, I sure don't want to go in and take over some big role and go in and try to, carry some sort of movie where I've never even acted before.
$100 million production.
Yeah, so which I don't know that would happen anyway, but we got offered a part in this little independent movie thing, and it's it's kind of a part where I'm in the movie throughout the movie, but it's not like a ton of speaking parts. So I kind of get my feet wet a little bit if I choose to do that, and so we're kind of looking at it, but I definitely think it's something that I might be interested in the future, and but like I said, it all depends on on what it is and what I think about it, and if it's something that I feel like is cool. I mean, it's it's the same way with cutting records. I mean, I don't hear a song. I mean, if I hear a song and I think it's cool, then I want to cut it. I want to do that. It gets me excited to do that, and I think movies would be the same way.
What surprised you the most about the business of music?
I guess the thing that surprised me most about the business is, I guess it's like anything. It's there's a lot of politics involved in the music business. But that's anything. And it's, I think, all of it really, because I always assumed that when you had a record deal, you went and you recorded your record and you went out and played your shows and you made a lot of money, and that was about the extent of it.
That was it.
And but there's so much more to it than that. I mean, there's a lot of work that's involved in it that I don't think people see, and a lot of late nights, early mornings, a lot of traveling, a lot of having plans with your family and having to cancel at the last minute because you got, something pops up and you got to go do that.
And that's tough with children.
Yeah, and it's tough, So I mean, there's a lot of things like that that are tough, but I think that's why they call it the music business.
Yeah,
exactly. Unfortunately, it's it's part of it, and you got to kind of take the good with the bad sometimes, and just know that it is what it is, and you got to deal with it.
And when are you back in studio, Jason?
We are looking to go back in, I think, in October, early November. Start working on a new album. We're actually listening to songs for it now, trying to narrow that down a little bit, and hopefully get in there in the fall. And over the break, we'll have a couple months off. So hopefully by the time January, February rolls around, we'll have the album done, ready to go, and ready for a release. Hopefully sometime next year.
Rapid fire questions now.
All right, shoot.
You're a singer, songwriter, and musician. If you couldn't do that, what's your second career choice?
Baseball player.
If you could sing a duet with anyone in the world, living or dead, who would you choose?
Ooh, probably Elvis.
Ooh,
yeah.
Good one. What's the funniest thing that happened to you on stage?
Funniest thing that's happened to me on stage would probably be one night I was telling the crowd good night, and I was getting ready to leave the stage and was walking backwards and forgot there was a step there, so I tripped over the step and almost put my head through the bass drum of my drummer's drum set. And this was like on the Tim McGraw tour, so there was about 20,000 people that got to witness it, and that was probably the most embarrassing moment I've had on stage for sure.
Nothing worse than people seeing the soles of your boots.
Right, and YouTube is an awesome thing. You get to relive it over and over.
So is Jason Aldean your birth name?
Aldean is my middle name.
Ah. Were you named after someone?
I was named after my granddaddy.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a nickname?
I do. It's everybody in my band calls me the Peach.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm from Georgia, so so it's usually the Peach or Peach, whatever.
Right.
So somehow I got hammered with that nickname a few years back, and it's not a very cool one, but that's what it is.
You were raised in Georgia and spent many of your summers in Florida with your dad. Now, if you had to choose, which would it be? Georgia peach pie or key lime pie?
I'd probably have to say it'd be the key lime pie.
Grilled steak, chicken steak, or tofu?
Grilled steak.
How old were you when you discovered you could sing?
I was probably about 12 or 13.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when I realized that I was actually could carry a tune, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, people had told me I could before that, but it's just like, at that point, you're a kid, and you know people are telling you that just because they want to hear you sing.
Right, yeah, that's
But it wasn't until I was, you know, early teenager kind of thing that I actually thought, man, I guess I'm not too bad. I can actually carry a tune. I was probably 12, 13 years old.
Your favorite sport to watch?
Favorite sport to watch? It's a close race between the Atlanta Braves, Major League Baseball, or college football. So yeah, it's
Particular team?
Georgia Bulldogs.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a very close race between the two.
What's your favorite sport to play?
Favorite sport to play is baseball.
Have you ever experienced snow?
I have. I've experienced snow here, which is not fun.
Was that last week?
No, this was about 3 or 4 years ago in Saskatchewan. And snow was taller than my bus, which was not cool.
Have you ever hired a band to perform at a party at your farm?
No, but I have hired a karaoke guy to come out and run the karaoke machine. I have had some karaoke parties at my house.
Cowboy boots or hiking boots?
Probably cowboy boots.
Did you know that there's an entry about you on Wikipedia?
I did know I'm on Wikipedia, yeah.
Have you read it?
I wrote it. What are you kidding? No, I'm kidding. I didn't write it. I have read it, actually. I always read that stuff to make sure it's accurate.
What do you think Kelly Clarkson was actually listening to on her little earphones when you two sang the duet on the Country Music Awards?
Well, I hope she was listening to the song. I don't know. I know she had something in her eye. She started like tearing up toward the end of the song, and I was like, man, I must be like really like putting some passion into this thing, you know? And then after we got off stage, she goes, yeah, something's in my eye. I can't get it to stop water. And so here, I thought I was actually bringing her to tears, and she had something in her eye.
Do singers get vacation time?
Yes. Not much, but yes.
Where did you take your family on vacation last year?
We always take a trip to the beach down to Florida. I have a house at the beach down there, and so we typically go down there. We actually went down this year for about a month and hung out for a month, and that's usually our big vacation. I'm actually taking my girls to Disney World this year too. So
It's great.
yeah,
What do you raise on your farm in Nashville?
2 kids. An 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
There you go.
And a dog.
And a dog. And last question, Jason. Do your children know you're a singing star?
They do. They do. I don't know if they know to what extent at this point. They just know that, you know, I'm on TV a lot and I hang out with Taylor Swift. And not really hang out, but I like, they see me at the same show with her, so they think we're hanging out, you know. But you know, they know what I do, but I don't think it's going to be until they get a little older that they actually put it all together and really understand it 100%, you know. But yeah, they come out to the shows and they definitely know, you know, what I do for a living, and you know, hopefully one day they'll know that I'm not just some old guy, that at one point I was kind of cool and younger.
And thank you, Jason, for taking part in this interview. I really appreciate it. And good luck at Big Valley and, of course, in the rest of your career. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.